This is a rant against all of you skeptics in the skeptic community. And I'm going to name some names. Telltale, Seth Andrews, Aaron Raw, Matt Dillahunty, to name a few. I'm sure maybe a few more will come up while I'm thinking about it. Richard Dawkins. I'm sure more names will come up as I go along. What I am sick and freaking tired of is all of you, like lockstep. Are you guys reading from the same script? All of you. Every single one of you, every single time. All you do, if you're not bashing religion, which I think is a good thing, if you're not bashing religion, you're bashing conspiracy theorists, anti-vaxxers, as if there's no conspiracy. Oh, wear your mask, stay safe, protect the health care worker. The fuck out of here. Not one of you. I've been following all of you guys for years, and not once has any of you ever said, hey, wait a minute, have you guys heard about Operation Northwoods? You know, where the CIA was going to create a false flag so that they could do a coup in Cuba? There's a document called Operation Northwoods. Has anybody seen that? Not one of you have mentioned that. Not one of you has mentioned, hey, you know, that Gulf of Tonkin incident, you know, the thing that got us into Vietnam? You know, that was bullshit, right? Not one of you. Not one of you assholes has ever mentioned, hey, you know, Building 7, never before in history has a couple of office fires brought down a 47-story steel building in its own fucking footprint. Never. Not one of you pieces of shit has ever mentioned, hey, you guys, are you familiar with the church hearings? You know, the 1976, you know, church here. You know where the CIA is deeply embedded in basically all of our media? Have any of you pieces of shit ever mentioned that it's kind of funny that the vaccine industry is like the only industry in the world that is completely immune from litigation? Like, if their product harms you, you can't sue them. Isn't that weird? Not one of you guys has ever mentioned that not only can you not sue the vaccine industry for injury, but how perfect of a business model is it that your product is actually mandated by law? Why are we giving newborn babies hepatitis vaccines? That's a sexually transmitted disease. Why are newborn babies on their first day of life getting a sexually transmitted disease vaccine, which, by the way, is not actually lifelong? You're supposed to get an update. What? Who's having sex with newborn babies, like day one newborn babies? Not one of you guys has ever mentioned that maybe there's a conflict of interest when the pharmaceutical company industry is actually a major funder of the FDA. No conflict of interest there. Not one of you guys has ever said a word about Bill Gates being the #1 funder of the World Health Organization, while meanwhile Facebook and Twitter and YouTube will delete anything that goes against the World Health Organization. No conflict of interest there. No, nothing to see here. What are you, crazy? There's no conspiracy. And you call yourself a skeptic. Shame on you. How many of you pointed out that NBC aired footage that was supposed to be a New York City emergency room, and they showed you footage of an emergency room in Italy, and they weren't even smart enough to delete the audio? You could actually hear people speaking Italian in the background, and they got totally busted. No conspiracy. No, that was an honest mistake. How about when CBS aired footage last year? Do you remember the Kentucky gun range? Does anyone? Bueller? They told you it was a Syrian attack, when in reality it was exposition from the Kentucky gun range. And they even made a big swath on the bottom of the screen, a big graphic that covered like the whole bottom of the screen. Big graphic. But behind the graphic was everybody with their fucking cell phones taking footage because it was an exposition at a Kentucky gun range. And CBS tried to tell you that that was a Syrian gun attack. What do you think that graphic was there for? It was to cover the people with the fucking cell phones. No, that's just an honest mistake. No conspiracy, nothing to see here. So I've recently unsubscribed from almost all of my favorite atheist, skeptic YouTube people. All of you. Sam Harris, Seth Andrews, Aaron Raw, and even Richard Dawkins. A couple of years ago, I did a Conwick show when I was doing my podcast, and I covered food, and I think it's still on my channel. It's called the Soylent Green New Deal is the name of the show, if you want to go check it out, where I highlight how they want you to eat not only plant-based meat, fake meat, plant-based, they want you eating insect protein. They want you eating hamburgers made out of bugs. It's worse than that. They want you eating lab-grown meat. It's worse than that. They want you eating, are you ready? And I'm not shitting you. It's in the literature. It's in the show. I documented it. I showed the articles. They want you eating human lab-grown meat. Yeah. No shit. They want you eating lab-grown human meat. This is your fucking future. And Richard Dawkins is on board. Yep. I ain't even shitting you. This is not a joke. And I'm disgusted by all of you fucking pieces of shit who act like conspiracies don't exist and vaccines are safe and government is here to help and government can never lie and never fault. Trust the science. Fuck you and fuck your science. How about this for science? You know the 1918 Spanish flu? Did you know they took 100 volunteers, healthy people. They divided them into 3 groups. Group 1 had their open mouths. And right next to their open mouth, they had a sick influenza Spanish flu patient breathe heavily for like 10 freaking minutes. Group 2 also had an open mouth. And in their open mouth, they had sick Spanish flu patients literally cough and spit. like kissing close, like right there. And group 3, they actually extracted snot from the sinuses of sick people and injected them into the sinuses of healthy people. And you know what happened at the end of that entire study? 1 person got the sniffles. 1 person got the sniffles. Yeah, they could not prove transmission of the Spanish flu. Couldn't fucking do it. If you take snot out of some sick person's nose and put it into the nose, the sinus of another person, chances are nothing will happen. They divided 100 people into 3 groups, so roughly 33, 34, 35 people, roughly 30-something people per group. 1 person got the sniffles. And it was one of the people who had literally snot injected right into their fucking nose from a sick person. They got the sniffles. Did they get Spanish flu? No. That's the best they could do. That's the best they could do. So it kind of looks like your germ theory of disease just took a shit. Trust the science? Which science? What, the science that you tell me? Or the science that's actually in the literature that most people don't really know about? Which science do you want me to trust? Is science corruptible? You damn right it is. Trust my science. No, not that other science. Trust my science. Look, I could go on for days on this subject. But I just wanted to rant for a minute about all of my skeptic friends, some of which I've met in person, all of which are full of shit. If you guys want to sit around and bash religion all day, more power to you. Religion deserves its bashing, absolutely. But none of you guys have any fucking business talking about conspiracy. None of you have any business bashing people who might be, I don't know, skeptic of the vaccine industry, or talking about conspiracies that are very, very real and quite nefarious. None of you have done a lick of fucking research into any of that shit. And you can all fuck off as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, none of you people have any business talking about these subjects for which you have done no research and you don't know shit about. I got a video on my channel of Bill Clinton apologizing to the American people for the experiments that the government used to do on the population. Biological, radiological, chemical experiments. Tuskegee, anyone? Anyone? You guys got no business poo-pooing conspiracy theorists or anti-vaxxers. You know what's in a vaccine? Mercury, aluminum, aborted fetal tissue shells, animal tissue cells, monkey kidney, bovine fucking cells. There's a chemical, polysorbate 80 or something like that, which actually breaks down the blood-brain barrier, which allows this aluminum nanoparticle to actually penetrate and get into your brain. Did you know that in the vaccine insert, have you ever read one of those? The vaccine insert actually says that autism is a side effect? And you want to take a shit on anti-vaxxers? You guys got no business talking about shit you know nothing about. Did you know that every single vaccine manufacturer are convicted felons? All of them have been convicted of fraud. All of them have paid billions and billions in fines. GlaxoSmithKline paid a $500 million fine in one case, and then they paid a $1.4 or $5 billion fine, the biggest medical fraud fine ever in history. Go get your vax. Why don't you stop shitting on people who are skeptical about vaccines and do some fucking research? Well, I could go on for days, but I'm going to leave it here. I just wanted to say to all my skeptic friends who I have unsubscribed and I will no longer follow, go fuck yourselves.